The morning sun poured through the large glass windows of Sunnybrook Café, casting warm golden streaks across the checkered floor. The clinking of silverware, the hiss of the espresso machine, and the soft chatter of customers blended into the kind of rhythm Jasmine Carter had learned to dance to. At 23 years old, Jasmine was known as the kind of waitress who could balance 3 plates in one hand, refill your coffee before you asked, and still remember your favorite muffin from last week. She wasn't just working for a paycheck. Jasmine's mother had raised her on the belief that kindness mattered more than anything. "Baby, you never know what battles someone's fighting," her mother used to say. Jasmine carried those words into every shift. The cafe was busy that morning, suits hunched over laptops, families with syrup-sticky kids, retirees gossiping over pancakes. Jasmine was weaving between tables when the bell above the door jingled. She turned instinctively, and that's when she saw him. A tall, older man stepped in, his posture stiff, his face weathered by time. A navy cap sat proudly on his head, and though his hands trembled slightly, his grip on his cane was strong. Beside him padded a German shepherd, alert yet calm, its harness marked clearly, "Service dog." The crowd barely noticed him. A few glanced up, then went back to their phones and plates. But Jasmine saw more. She saw the way his shoulders tensed as though expecting resistance, the way he hesitated just inside the doorway as if gauging whether he was welcome. Jasmine didn't hesitate. She rushed forward, her smile warm. "Good morning, sir. Welcome to Sunnybrook. Can I get you a booth where you'll have a little extra space?" Relief softened the man's face. "That would be mighty kind of you, miss. My knees aren't what they used to be." "No problem at all," Jasmine said, walking beside him and gently nudging a chair aside so he could slide into the booth without strain. His shepherd circled once, then settled neatly by his leg. Jasmine bent down, scratching behind the dog's ear with a grin. "Well, aren't you handsome?" The dog's tail thumped once. The man chuckled. "He thinks so too." She poured him a glass of water before he even asked. "Can I get you a coffee while you look at the menu?" "Cream, sugar, black's fine. Thank you." His voice carried the gravelly tone of someone who had lived through things most people couldn't imagine. As Jasmine bustled off to fetch his coffee, the cafe manager, Mr. Rhodes, appeared from the kitchen. He was a wiry man with slicked back hair, a permanent scowl etched on his face. The kind of boss who believed friendliness slowed service. "What are you doing?" he hissed, cornering Jasmine near the counter. "Helping a customer," Jasmine replied evenly, setting the coffee to brew. "You let a dog in here. It's a service dog, Mr. Rhodes. He's allowed by law." Rhodes narrowed his eyes. "Law or not, we're not running a charity. Don't waste time fussing over some old man. We've got paying families waiting for their orders." Jasmine stiffened. She wanted to snap back, but years of working under him had taught her to bite her tongue. Still, she carried the steaming mug of coffee to the veteran with quiet defiance. She noticed his hands shake slightly as he reached for it, so without a word, she slid the cup closer, making it easier. "Thank you, young lady," he said, his smile soft but tired. "You're welcome, sir. Take your time. I'll be right here if you need anything." The warmth of that small exchange contrasted sharply with the storm brewing behind the counter. Rhodes watched, his jaw tightening. Customers noticed too. A mother at a nearby table whispered, "That girl's sweet," while her husband nodded approvingly. But Rhodes didn't care about approval, only control. When Jasmine returned to the counter to grab a plate, Rhodes snapped. Loudly, publicly, "Jasmine, that's enough. You're done here. Fired. Get your apron off." The cafe went silent. Forks froze mid-bite. The veteran looked up, startled, and tried to rise in protest, but his cane slipped against the booth. Jasmine rushed to steady him with one hand while her other untied the apron from her waist. Her heart pounded, but her voice was steady. "Fine. If helping a man who served this country costs me my job, then I don't want it." Her words hung heavy in the silence. Rhodes smirked, thinking he had reasserted his power. He didn't notice the teenager in the corner booth, phone raised, recording the entire confrontation. Jasmine folded her apron neatly and placed it on the counter. The veteran looked up at her, his eyes glistening with something deeper than gratitude. He opened his mouth as though to speak, but words failed him. And with that, Jasmine walked toward the door, the cafe's hush following her every step. She had no idea that this small act of defiance was about to ripple far beyond the walls of Sunnybrook Café. The air outside was cooler than Jasmine expected, carrying the faint scent of car exhaust and fresh rain from earlier that morning. She sat on the curb just beyond the cafe's front windows, her apron folded neatly across her lap like a relic she wasn't sure she wanted to hold onto or throw away. The world moved on around her, cars humming down the street, a cyclist zipping by, people laughing as they carried shopping bags from the boutique across the road, but for Jasmine, time felt suspended. Her chest ached, not just from the sting of being fired, but from the humiliation of it. She had worked long shifts, taken extra tables, even skipped breaks to cover for coworkers. And yet, in a matter of seconds, she was discarded like nothing. The sound of a cane tapping slowly across the pavement broke her thoughts. She glanced up to see the veteran emerging from the cafe. His German shepherd trotted loyally at his side, glancing at her with intelligent brown eyes as if he too understood what had just happened. "Miss," the man said softly, lowering himself onto the curb beside her. It took visible effort, but he did it anyway, settling down with a grunt. "You didn't have to do that for me." Jasmine shook her head, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "You don't have to apologize, sir. I wasn't going to stand there and let him treat you like you didn't belong. You've earned more respect than that." The veteran studied her face for a moment, his gaze steady, almost searching. Finally, he nodded. "Name's Colonel William Harris. Retired Marine Corps." He extended a weathered hand. Jasmine blinked at the introduction before shaking it gently. "Jasmine Carter. Well, Miss Carter, I've met plenty of people in my years, good and bad. And I can tell you one thing. You've got more backbone than most." The words should have felt like praise, but Jasmine just sighed, staring at the folded apron in her lap. "Backbone doesn't pay the rent. And it sure won't cover my little brother's school fees. I really needed this job." For a moment, silence stretched between them. The colonel reached down and scratched his shepherd's neck, his expression thoughtful. Then, leaning slightly closer, he said, "Sometimes life has a funny way of rewarding the people who do right, even when it costs them. You'll see." Before Jasmine could respond, the cafe door opened again. The teenager who had been sitting in the corner booth jogged out, phone in hand. He was lanky, with a mop of curly hair and the jittery excitement of someone who'd just stumbled onto breaking news. "I got the whole thing," he said, practically bouncing. "Every second. The way you helped him, the way your boss fired you, people need to see this." Jasmine frowned. "What do you mean?" He tilted the phone so she could see the paused video, her standing beside the veteran, roads barking, the cafe falling silent. Then he hit play, and Jasmine heard her own voice ring out clear and defiant. "If helping a man who served this country costs me my job, then I don't want it." Her stomach flipped. She hadn't even realized how powerful it sounded until she heard it back. "I already uploaded it," the boy added quickly. "It's blowing up. People are sharing it like crazy. You're trending on TikTok right now under hashtag Justice for Jasmine." Jasmine's eyes widened. "Trending?" The boy nodded eagerly. "And hashtag veteran respect. Trust me, your boss is about to regret what he did." Before Jasmine could even wrap her head around the idea, Colonel Harris shifted beside her. He had been quiet, but his eyes were sharper now, focused in a way that made her think of steel behind glass. Slowly, he reached into his jacket and pulled out an old, battered flip phone. "Colonel Harris?" Jasmine asked softly, curiosity tugging at her voice. He stood, bracing against his cane, and stepped a few feet away. She could hear the low rumble of his voice but not the words. His dog sat obediently at his heel, ears perked as if listening too. Harris' tone wasn't pleading, it was commanding. Precise. The kind of voice that expected to be obeyed. When he finally flipped the phone shut and returned, Jasmine tilted her head. "Was everything okay?" The colonel gave her a small, knowing smile. "It will be." She blinked. "Who did you call?" "Let's just say," he replied carefully, "I reached out to some boys of mine. People who don't take kindly to veterans, or the people who stand up for them, being treated the way we just were." The words gave Jasmine a strange mix of reassurance and unease. She had no idea who this man truly was, or what kind of boys he meant. But the weight in his voice suggested something big, something she couldn't yet picture. As cars passed and the world carried on, Jasmine sat there with her heart thudding in her chest. She thought losing her job was the end of her day, but deep down she felt something shifting. Whatever Colonel Harris had set in motion, it was coming fast. And it was about to turn Sunnybrook Cafe upside down.